Hi everyone. Thank you to those of you who sent questions in. For those of you who are following me, you'd know that Mass and I celebrated 10 years together the other day on the 5th of March. So not 10 years married, but 10 years being together. And so I asked if you guys could send some questions in, which you did, so thank you. And this is just us answering those questions. The rest of the questions, because we're not going to be able to get through all of them, because there's quite a few, but the rest of them will be on my blog later on today. So question number 1, please, Mass.
Sure. What are the challenges you faced in the 10 years you've been together?
You go first.
This is the fact that, so a year after being married, Helen and I moved to the UAE. So we've always wanted to go overseas as a couple, but we kind of laid roots in Nottingham and pretty much had to uproot quite quickly and then recreate what we had somewhere else. And the UAE isn't necessarily, well, in any country you move to, it's quite difficult. Life can be quite difficult if you've not got residency status. So it was no different here. And we had quite a few challenges before we got residency. Things obviously change a lot when you are resident, but up until that point it can be challenging. So that was something we dealt with quite early on. Okay, so the next question that we've been asked is, what are the top 5 questions that you would ask your partner before getting married?
First one has got to be about money, definitely. So I'd say, what are you like with money? Because I think some people know that they're not good with money at all. But some people, like us, thought that we were both pretty good with money, but actually we're quite different when it comes to money. I'm more of the saver, Massimo is more of a spender. And he's not a spendthrift, but he can spend money more easily than I am prepared to let go of it. Whereas I would like to save it. I wouldn't necessarily treat myself with it. So we both handle money well, but different. And that it can cause massive problems.
And I think even an extension of that as well is you need to know how transparent the other person's willing to be with their finances. For us, it doesn't make sense that one person controls their own and one person controls their own if you're meant to be married, or there needs to be full transparency because it can just cause problems. I've seen it happen too many times. So
and it's the number. Sorry.
Yeah,
to interrupt you.
Yeah, I was going to just say, if the person isn't willing to have these transparent conversations with you, then you need to really consider that.
Yeah.
You need to, knowing about how much debt they may have, stuff like that is so important to know.
Yeah, and also it's just, the reason why I said it first is because it's the number one cause of divorce.
Yeah. Money
issues, and so it's definitely something you have to be really transparent about and just to get clued up about, and otherwise it's going to cause problems.
On that note, big up Dave Ramsey. Uncle Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
He's the guy. If you want to talk about finances.
Yeah.
The second question, I think people don't think about asking, or they kind of talk about it and then they don't really talk about it properly, and then they're hit with a surprise as children. I think you need to both know where you stand in terms of whether or not you actually want kids. If you want them, when do you want them?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, because that can also cause real problems.
Massive issues.
Yeah.
Ooh, family. So I'd say in terms of family, how has your parents' relationship affected
you?
Affected yours, or affected you, and how you view relationships?
And that's something, we were made to ask one another when we did the pre-marriage course, and it's really important. But I think another question based on that as well is, how involved do you expect them to be once you're married? Like how much of an involvement will your family have in your marriage? Some people are really close to their siblings. some people are really close to their parents, but regardless of what your relationship is like, there needs to also be boundaries to protect the marriage that you guys have.
Yeah.
So I think that's also important.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got money, we've got family, we've got children. Well, it's family.
What are your expectations of like the roles that you'll take on when you go into the house? Because you'll naturally have assumptions about what the other person will do, and you may not even realize it. Like, because you may gravitate towards something naturally. For example, in our household, naturally I gravitate more towards like the domestic stuff, like cleaning and stuff like that, whilst Helen is more the cook. But that doesn't mean then that I don't think about cooking, and vice versa, because that could also cause problems. We've actually had in the past issues where, you know, Helen's felt an unfair sense of expectation on her to cook, and I've not even,
I'm in the house,
and I've not even been consciously doing it. It's just I thought, oh well, Helen goes towards that anyway, and so I'm then thinking, well, when I come home,
food will be there ready for him on the table,
you know,
with the bowl of the water so you can wash your hands in it, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, just having a chat about that as well, I think is really important.
That's true. Like, we also had an issue with bins, because I used to be terrified of bins. I hated them, and we had a few tiffs about who's going to take out the bins. Because
it's not like I love bins. Who likes bins? But you got to deal with it.
Yeah, but I hated them. Like, I didn't like them. So
it was a problem.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what we mean.
Okay.
What's the next question?
So the next question is, what kind of compromises do you feel that you have made for one another in marriage?
Okay, so I know what you're going to say already, so I'm just going to say it. So Massimo is like OCD clean, like OCD, yeah? And I don't mind an organised mess.
An organised mess?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's organised because I know where things are. Yeah. So, an example, when we were back in uni, Massimo used to live with two of our closest friends, and you know, when you're in uni, you have time, but you know, you also don't have time. You feel like you don't have time. And these guys, I think they cooked. One of them in particular uses every single utensil, every tray, every dish, every plate in the house.
You know who you are. Well.
And on this occasion, like many, he left all of this stuff in the sink and then went to bed. And Massimo, oh my gosh, he literally could not sleep that night because there were dishes in the sink. And I was like, look, Mass, it's not that deep.
No, it's such an exaggeration.
I was like, it's not that deep. Like,
that
you know,
is such an exaggeration.
And he used to have this WhatsApp group as well with the two boys in it. And this guy would take photographic evidence, send them messages throughout the day when these guys were in lectures trying to learn. Massimo was there sending these messages about, oh, who left this fork? No, not even that. Who left this fork on the side with watermarks on it? That's Massimo's level of cleanliness. And I get it, like, be clean and tidy, that's great, but don't lose sleep over it.
All right.
That's mad.
All right. Okay.
So, of course, any kind of person whose standard is less than that is going to have a problem with this guy.
I just want to say that a lot of that has been embellished for the purposes of this video.
No, it has not. It has not.
Just so we're
cool.
clear.
Don't worry. The comment sections, I'm going to tag the people.
You don't need to expose them.
I'll tag...
My guys,
okay,
it's all good, man.
All right, they're going to comment anyway. They'll comment.
Okay, next question is, what does submission look like in your Christian marriage?
Ooh. That's a question for me, isn't it? Well, I'll address it. So, okay. I think, obviously, that question talks about the scripture that says that, you know, wives submit to your husbands. But we also have to take that, we can't take it out of context. We have to look at the whole scripture. And in that whole scripture, it talks about not only ladies submitting or wives submitting to your husbands, but husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church. And with that, I think we can see that it's not in isolation that women have to submit, or anyone in the marriage partnership has to do anything, but it is just that. It is, they go hand in hand, and it is a partnership. So I don't necessarily think submission is as dirty a word as people have made it. It's not, your husband is not supposed to be a dictator who just tells you what to do and you have to do everything he says. You're not a slave, but it's supposed to be a partnership.
And clearly as well, if I can just come in there, clearly submission is not just for the woman. If we look at what Helen just said about the scripture, if we look at Christ's love, that is marked by submission. It's marked by servitude. So the same way Helen's supposed to submit, if anything, the man in many ways is supposed to submit even more. I'm supposed to prefer my wife, you know, as much as Christ prefers the church. So like Helen said, it's a partnership.
The last question?
Yeah.
Just remember that the ones that we're not able to answer, I will write in my blog post as well, and I'll include this video too. So head to helendebrahampofo.com.
So the last question is, what tips do you have for couples moving to a different place together?
I would say just allow yourself time to find your tribe. So luckily for us, I think the fact that I wasn't working meant that I could go to coffee mornings, I could go to different social events and just find people, so that when Massimo was off, like when he wasn't at work, we still had loads of stuff to do. So socially, I think it's really important. Go on, have you got something else to say?
Yeah, I think another thing as well is just working out what you guys as a couple like value most in terms of choosing where to go. So Helen mentioned already, like one of the things that led us here specifically was opportunities for teachers here. Yeah. It's a great place for teachers, but also just we love Abu Dhabi because of the kind of the pace of life, the balance between you know,
the Western and also
like
traditional.
As much as we like Dubai, I much prefer Abu Dhabi because Dubai's got so much going on. Whilst Abu Dhabi's more chilled. Like, what do you guys value? What do you guys want? And then go after that.
That's true. Yeah. And the last thing I'm going to say is that make sure your home is somewhere that you can just come back to and relax. So when it comes to like getting things in your house as well, I know with us, we didn't know how long we were going to be out here for, so we didn't really want to decorate. We didn't really want to add anything, but I think you see my green wall, but just painting, having a few pictures up, and we chose a home that was that had like loads of light coming in. It's just so nice when you do come home from work, you can just relax and it feels like your own home. And I think before, when we were living here and here, and like it was just bare, it just didn't really feel like ours, and that made a difference. So if you relocate anywhere, even if you're going to stay there for like 1 year, just make it a home as soon as you get there.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Add some comments, let us know what you liked or didn't like, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, and yeah, share some of your own tips, your relationship tips as well. Mass is smiling, everybody, so yay! All right, take care, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. Come on, Ellie.
That's no. Don't be rude.
Where's it gone? Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, does it? All right. So, Mass, question number 1, please.
I silenced my phone.
Well, you clearly didn't.
I did. Look at that. Look at that.
So why did it make that noise?
I don't know.